This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Analyst reveals a string of communication between alleged Wandon gang members and a main witness. A communication analyst disclosed during the Wandon gang trial on Thursday afternoon that the alleged leader of the criminal network, Andre Blackman Bryan, and the prosecution's main witness communicated more than 500 times over the period from January to August 2019. The witness, who began giving evidence on Wednesday, told the Home Circuit Court that 4 telephone numbers were attributed to Mr. Bryan. The witness, who is a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, used a chart to show the number of calls between the former Don-turned-state witness and some of the alleged gang members. The witness also revealed that Stephanie Christie, the lone female accused among the 33 defendants on trial, was the only defendant who had personally subscribed to one of the telecommunication providers. However, numbers attributed to the other defendants were extracted from the 3 cellular phones the main witness used to secretly record conversations among the alleged members. The witness's presentation also revealed that Jason Brown, whose alias is City Puss, communicated with the main witness more than 1,000 times from behind the bars. Woman to be charged for cocaine. Investigators have revealed that preliminary tests conducted on a quantity of white powdery substance found at a location at the Norwich district in Portland on April 30 is in fact cocaine. The drug, which weighed approximately 2 kilograms and has a street value of about $15 million, was found during a targeted raid by the Portland police in collaboration with the Area 2 Narcotics Police. A woman was taken into custody following the seizure of the substance. So far, we have done the pre-testing of the substance, and it is confirmed that it in fact is cocaine. The female, which is in custody, will be charged shortly and will be taken to court to answer to the charge of possession of cocaine, said commanding officer for the Portland Police Division, Superintendent Kenneth Chin. Soldier among 3 in custody after shootout with police. 3 men, including a soldier, were taken into custody earlier today after members of the security forces reportedly repelled an attack by armed thugs in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. 2 firearms and a police ballistic vest were also seized, the police have confirmed. Superintendent Howard Chambers, commanding officer for the St. Catherine North Police, said a team was about to commence a cordon and search operations along Johns Road when they came under gunfire from a group of men. The fire was returned and the men ran in different directions, Chambers said. However, 3 of them were held, including the soldier and a man who was found suffering from gunshot wounds. The men are to be interviewed by investigators, Chambers said. Technical director at the Labor Ministry takes a PS to court over alleged demotion. A legal fight is looming at the Labor and the Social Security Ministry as Deborah Patrick Gardner, the chief technical director in charge of labor issues, is suing Permanent Secretary Colette Roberts Risden for allegedly demoting her and chasing her out of meetings. Patrick Gardner, who is also an attorney at law, filed an application for a judicial review in the Supreme Court in March. The matter was scheduled for a hearing today before Justice Chester Stamp. Patrick Gardner is alleging that Roberts Risden subjected her to unequal treatment under the law when she reassigned her to the Jamaica Productivity Center, a lesser status than those who reported to her. Roberts Risden has declined to comment on the specific allegations, only saying that as permanent secretary, her role is to ensure that the work of the people gets done and to also ensure that the strategic priorities and the objectives of the government are achieved. This is the second time that Patrick Gardner has taken government officials to court. She was successful in her suit brought against the Public Service Commission when steps were taken to retire her in 2016 at age 42 on the grounds of reorganization. She was then Principal Executive Officer of the government-run Court Management Services, which is now Court Administration Division. Following the Supreme Court ruling in 2018, she was transferred to the Labor Ministry. The full court ruling that she was unlawfully retired was upheld by the Court of Appeal. Patrick Gardner in the suit filed against Roberts Risden and the Attorney General is also seeking constitutional redress. She outlined in court documents that her personal belongings were invaded and removed, and that she was refused access to the floor of the ministry's North Street building in Kingston, which housed her office. She is alleging that Robert's resident created a hostile environment for her so as to ensure that she was blocked from performing the functions of her post. Patrick Gardner is claiming that the PS, having failed to have the Director for Industrial Relations and Allied Services appointed to act in her post, unlawfully transferred the functions pertaining to her office to Industrial Relations Division. According to the senior civil servant, she was subjected to cruel and humiliating treatment and public ridicule by staff and regional colleagues during instances when she was barred or chased out of high-level labor meetings by the PS, while officers who reported to her were allowed to participate. The first respondent and/or her agents has taken actions to bar the applicant from the functions of her post and the entitlement of her office, while creating a false perception that the applicant is refusing to perform her duties within the ministry as a means of further damaging the applicant's reputation in the public service, aimed ultimately to effect her removal from the public service, she outlined in the claim. Patrick Gardner said in spite of her memorandum dated December 9, 2021 to the PS, in which she told her that the decision to strip her of her functions had rendered her position useless and impacted her negatively, the PS ignored her and removed her from the labor portfolio. She will be asking the court to find that she suffered breaches to her fundamental rights under the Constitution, as well as other breaches. Technician shot in Clarendon. A fire safety technician in Clarendon was shot by gunmen on Thursday morning. The 46-year-old man was at his place of business in Green Meadows, Maypen, about 7 o'clock when the shooting occurred. The gunman escaped in a car. The technician has been admitted to hospital in serious condition. Agriculture Minister urges calm amid higher food prices and the supply concerns. Minister of Agriculture Pernell Charles Jr. says a calm, calculated response is required amid the concerns about increased food prices and the potential disruptions in the supply chain. In a media release Thursday, Mr. Charles cautioned against making utterances about a potential crisis, as that could lead to premature uncertainty. He said the Agriculture Ministry has been working with stakeholders to identify alternative sources of supply while also advancing its own research and development of alternatives for animal feed, fertilizer, and food options. According to Mr. Charles, viable alternatives have been identified for critical inputs which will be affected through supply chain challenges. Several projects are underway at the Boodles Research Station to assist animal farmers. Fodder banks are also being established using high-protein local material. These will be replicated to enhance the supply of feed material to farmers at a cost. Mr. Charles said the Agriculture Ministry is also seeking to source key ingredients for fertilizer manufacture, such as potash, phosphates, and nitrogen. The minister's appeal for calm comes following a call from the parliamentary opposition for the government to do more to cushion the effects of the rising cost of agricultural inputs. Local fertilizer supplier Newport Ferson, Jamaica, recently disclosed that it might have to cut back production due to the rising cost of manufacturing the agricultural inputs and the farmers finding it difficult to keep up with the rising cost of fertilizer. Speaking to farmers in Guyshill, St. Catherine on Wednesday night, opposition spokesperson on finance Julian Robinson said if farmers cannot afford to produce, the country may be left scrambling to import scarce commodities.
There must be a plan to cushion the effect on farmers so that they can continue to produce. Because the crisis that the world faces is not just a crisis of high food prices, it's a crisis of food security. We may get to a point where the thing that we import, we can't import no more.
Health sector worried a shortage of medical supplies could worsen. There is heightened concern in the public health sector that the shortage of medical supplies could worsen shortly due to disruptions in the movement of cargo because of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and that pharmaceutical supply challenges are also on the horizon. On Wednesday, the news reported that the global shortage of medical supplies is hampering the distribution of some critical items to the island's public hospitals. The items in short supply include gloves, tapes, and sutures, also known as surgical threads. The news has been told that the National Health Fund has informed the public health officials that the decision by China to lock down its largest city, Shanghai, for 9 days will result in a backlog in production and shipments, causing delays which are anticipated to be felt globally until June. A large number of sundry items such as gowns, surgical masks, cotton, and gauze are manufactured in China. There has been increased demand for gloves in the U.S., which has led to a shortage of latex in China. China now imports additional latex from Malaysia, which is more expensive, and the price has also increased because of rising freight charges. The shortage of latex gloves is expected to continue for the next 5 months. The NHF has reportedly indicated that if there is no end to the Russia-Ukraine conflict soon, Jamaica's health sector may experience a disruption in supplies of pharmaceuticals from India. The sanctions imposed on Russia have led to the withdrawal of many companies, including Indian firms. India is the world's largest producer of generic drugs, and approximately 40% of pharmaceuticals procured by the NHF is manufactured in that country. The news has also been informed that the shortage of plasma has impacted the supplies of blood products. Suppliers have reportedly informed the NHF of the shortages. The increase in oil prices has also compounded the issue of exorbitant freight charges, causing longer lead time as suppliers continue to negotiate better prices. The NHF is reportedly implementing strategies to ensure minimum disruption in supplies of critical items. These include providing suppliers with a forecast. A shortage of medical supplies is already affecting at least one medical facility, with the Cornwall Regional Hospital announcing that it has scaled back outpatient services. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.